welcome to CLIC Connect. I'm your host, Craig. We got an industry leader joining us today, and he's a good friend. I think most of you know him. Scott Lockwood, VP Upscale Hotel Development, Cambria, various other brands over at Choice Hotels. So we're going to welcome Scott in just a moment, but I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We're just about at the tail end of our season 10. And, you know, it's just been a pleasure bringing all of these guests to you. And, you know, we really appreciate you. If you could go to our YouTube channel, subscribe and ring the bell. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers. We'd really like to get to that number. Thank you very much. Without any further ado, Mr. Scott Lockwood, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Craig. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's good to see you. Last time I saw you, where we actually had a conversation, was at your Cambria opening in Burbank. But you have been on fire from that point forward, if not even before that. Would you do me a favor and tell the audience about yourself and what you're doing with hotel development, please?
Yes, absolutely. So I cover the Western U.S. for Choice Hotels, Upscale by Choice, which includes our Radisson Blue, Radisson Individual, and Cambria Hotel brands. So I've been in this role in the Western U.S. with 14 states for the previous 12 years. During that time frame, I've executed nearly 80 deals, about 9,200 rooms, and a couple $1 billion in total cost. So been busy.
You have been, and I got to tell you, I don't think there's anybody else out there that could have done what you've done. Okay. You have just been able to put a program together and bring Cambria to life. They've, you know, it's been a great product, but it took a little time to get traction. And I really credit you and the team that's around you that, you know, right place, right time, and just lit it up. Now, how many open Cambrias do you have right now?
So we've got about 74 open, give or take. We've actually, I'm headed up to Seattle tomorrow and to Bend, Oregon for a ground break of a new Cambria we have under development in Bend. I've got another Cambria breaking ground in downtown Portland in the Pearl District. So we're pretty busy. Was in Vegas the last couple of days at ICSC and trying to get some traction there with some retailers and kind of master developers. But yeah, things are going well.
That's an interesting conference to go to. It's got everything under the sun in commercial real estate. Now, I'm a big one who has always loved hotel enhanced mixed use developments. Do you think we're going to start seeing some traction on that? I mean, putting a Cambria in with maybe some smaller boutique retail on the ground floor and either condos or offices on top. Do you think that's finally going to start gaining more traction with the cost of labor, material, and dirt?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we've got a project that's probably going to break ground here in the next 2 months in Mesa, Arizona.
Okay.
The group who is developing it, Aspect Hospitality Group out of Orange County, purchased the dirt about a year and a half ago. They've kind of GP'd and joint ventured with Tim O'Reilly, our largest Cambria hotel developer. Tim has, I think, about 7 Cambrias open, various large metropolitan areas around the country. They're part of a mixed-use, large 14-acre master plan development with 15 different retailers, a hospital complex next door, Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call them today, as their 1 million square foot building across the street. So it's right in it's the same thing you're talking about. We're kind of looking for those deals because the one-off sites are a little bit more expensive to build. They also don't get the support of the amenities or walkability of retailers next door. So we're looking at a few of those. I've got another one in Peoria, Arizona too, that we're looking at as a 20-acre master plan development.
Nice. I like that idea. And, you know, my alma mater was a wholly owned subsidiary of Lennar, and they owned LNR at the time as well. So there was always a lot of conversation going back and forth with me on the hotel side and those two groups. And it just made so much sense then. But part of the problem was they wanted the hotel out of the ground first. It's like, no, 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 you're going to destroy it. No, you can't have it. That's got to be the last thing. So I'm glad to see all that, and it just makes so much sense. Whether you've got a community that you're building, or urban infill. Some of these and let's stay out of Los Angeles because that's just a mess right now with everything that's going on in downtown. But some of these urban centers, whether it's Dallas or Chicago or someplace else, it really makes a lot of sense, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, you bring up downtown LA. We'd love to do something there, but if you could somehow circumvent the union labor process or development process and the cost, and top of that with inflation and tariffs, I think it's gonna be a nightmare for whoever is trying to get out of the ground here in the next 12 months to 18 months. Hopefully things calm down and come back to normal, but it's a tough sledding out there right now.
I think it's going to be a minimum of 18 months before we get something positive in the city of Los Angeles. And unfortunately, people don't realize how big that city is. It encompasses all of the San Fernando Valley, with the exception of Burbank, San Fernando, and Pacoima. So, it goes, basically North Hollywood to Woodland Hills. So, Calabasas is when you get out of the San Fernando Valley. But there's also, from downtown LA to Santa Monica and various other areas. So it's a huge city, and it's a huge problem. Another, unfortunate aspect is that mansion tax. We've had exactly 2 hotel sales since that was enacted, and they were both exempt because they were going into that state program. So it's going to be a mess there for a while, unfortunately. Now, I just saw a post in reference to DeCambria bringing in a partner for AI. Is that on plans and helping out the development side with you and your franchisees?
Yeah, so it's a group called Paraffin. So Paraffin, it's funny because a few years ago I saw a post on LinkedIn. They build kind of AI models of ground up prototype projects. So anywhere from Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, Choice, they can take any prototype and lay it out on a site, and it does it within seconds. So it'll give you, as long as you have the parcel code or can pinpoint it on a map, it'll provide the setbacks, the easements, the right-of-ways. It'll provide the heights, everything you need to lay out a quick rough sketch. Plus, it also tie in RevPAR for that comp set, depending on what segmentation you're in, and also regional, call it development cost, right, on a per square foot basis based on other projects, and it'll spit out basically an entire pro forma and an OM within minutes. So it just expedites the process for us. So we're, a lot of times we're on the front end of things looking for like groups trying to go through entitlement. So I've got 5 or 6 projects and sites I go out and find. Well, if I can't make my deal pencil, I'm gonna have a hard time selling that to our investment committee, getting Q&A approved, and then taking it back out to the masses to try and pitch it to someone. So this will definitely expedite, hopefully speed things up and create less lag time.
Yeah, I would imagine that gives you a strategic advantage over your contemporaries with some of the other companies as well. But yeah, if that shaves, I don't know, 30 days off of your due diligence to see if this actually works, yeah, I mean that's huge, and it's a tremendous advantage.
Yeah, these deals take a long time to to happen, anyways, right? We're anywhere from six to 9 months to get a deal done.
Yeah, and the hiccups along the way. But one thing that you guys that have separated you from everybody else out there is you're investing key money in these projects. So I mean, that's an advantage. How is that typically working with the new development?
So it can really kind of add to the value of the capital stack, right? So especially in where we are today with tariffs and interest rates being so high, and the cost of goods are hard to acquire. We can help a developer if he owns his land, or if he doesn't own his land, he's got equity in his dirt. And if that's, say, $2 million, we can bring in $2 million of key money, which is maybe 10 to 15% of the total project cost. If he's at PACE or EB5 or some other form of capital contribution, it besides his equity, we can go and fill, bigger piece of his gap that he needs to help get these deals financed. So get him closer to 50% loan to cost versus 35 or 40%.
Love that. I mean, that certainly takes some pressure off, and not knowing what my copper is going to run, for the building in 6 months. I need to have some reserves there as well.
Yeah, and lenders like to see participation from the brand, right?
Yeah.
We try not to take construction risk, but we will provide about 50% of that up front at ground break. And then the balance usually comes at opening. So we are taking some risk. During COVID, it kind of hurt us in a few spots where some hotels got stuck, but we've since rebounded, and yeah, we're fine with putting out as much as we can.
Well, we're in a risk business, but it's mitigating that risk and tapping it down. And if you can have, if you can control that risk, that's certainly advantageous, not only for the brand, but for the developer and the owner operator as well. So, I like what you've been doing, and I think that's been part of your success as well. Now, you've been out finding sites and bringing them to your A-list clients. And that turns into deals. There was quite a story that you had told me on Burbank. You'd worked that for a long time. So how's the reception been? I mean, if you're bringing me a site, let's say we've already done 2 of these. So we've got the familiarity. We both know what each other wants. You're bringing me a site. You're saving me a lot of time with my real estate team, and they're not having to go out and canvas quite as much real estate as they were in years past. So what's that like for you?
Yeah, I'll give you a good example. So I'm working on a deal that's in San Diego in the marina. So an existing asset with an existing franchisee of ours, he is no longer wanting to be in the hotel business. So we have an opportunity to scrape the existing, economy brand that's on the site. Incredible location. He brings his land value in at, let's say, 10 million. Yeah. I go out and get CPACE or EB5 approved, and work with some different groups, and I get a term sheet for EB5, or let's say even PACE. So in this deal, I've got 14.5 in PACE, plus his land, plus I'm putting in 5 million in key money. Yeah. So we're well over a 50% loan to cost on a 120 room project. So what I do is package that up, send it out to developers in my network, and try and tee someone up to get them to the table.
Love it. I mean, see, that's one of the things I've always admired about you is your creativity, and nobody else is doing this. Okay, give Scott a call.
Craig, my phone's not really ringing off the hook that much, so I'm maybe not as fortunate as the Hilton Hyatt Marriott guys, where they're kind of just picking up phone and taking orders. I've got to do a lot of groundwork and create relationships and do a lot of upfront work on my end.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, financing. We haven't seen a cut, and I don't think we're going to. I think if we do get one, it's got to be at least a point. I think if it's a quarter or a half point, it doesn't move the needle at all. So what's it like with, you're at 50% loan to cost, what's it like dealing with the lenders right now? Because you've got to be heavily involved with that, because you've got key money involved. You brought them the site. You've got the PACE or the EB5 financing in there. What's that like for you?
Yeah, I'm trying to play matchmaker my entire, every step of the process. If I can find a lender and bring someone else to the table, that's what I've got to do. I've got a list of, my 100 and so lenders that I provide to my developers once we get the deal inked, and then they kind of, use their balance sheet or other collateral that they have to create the best opportunity for themselves possible. But yeah, there's some certain headwinds when it comes to, I say not only the debt side. Debt is easier to find right now than equity. Equity is the hard part, because when you're piling on, high interest rates, and now you got prefs
Right.
that are anywhere from 9 to 15%. I mean, that's a huge piece that you've got to give away in order to raise the equity. And some deals aren't going to pencil. And I've seen a few right now that are coming back where they're short. Well, if the flag or brand isn't kicking in key money, or if we've got to up the ante, I've had to go back to our committee a couple different times and get increases for the key money just to cover that gap. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of, I think everyone's doing what they have to do to figure this out, right? Because we haven't been through this before after post-COVID, and where we are now. To me, this is worse than COVID. COVID was a piece of cake compared to this. This is like real money and real lost opportunity.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think this is going to cost us a lot of opportunities, and not just in our field of endeavors, but across the board for everybody. So, hey, Scott, you ready to play our 2-minute lightning round?
Sure.
All right, here we go. You don't win anything, but producer Danny's going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and it's just word association starting now. Favorite sport?
Football.
Cable or streaming?
Streaming.
Interest rates?
Hopefully they come down.
Grand openings?
We've got 7 planned this year.
Nice. Social media?
I can't stand it. I'm on it all the time. I'm always checking. My wife hates me.
Aisle or window?
Oh, window for sure.
Favorite airline?
I fly Southwest pretty much all the time, from Denver to Orange County to LA to Burbank, everywhere. Yep.
Yep. It just makes it so easy. Reward points?
I like the Southwest points. Choice privileges is pretty awesome, but I like Southwest until they change where my seat ends up here in the future.
Corvette or Porsche?
Oh, Porsche. Yeah.
Favorite restaurant in your city?
Oh my gosh. I live in Boulder, Colorado. I've got 5 or 6 favorites. So Pizzeria Locale.
There you go. Best vacation, location, hotel, or resort?
Oh, best vacation. I like the Riviera Maya. Coming from Colorado, we usually hit that area at spring break when it's snowing or freezing cold here. So it's always a great time to get out.
I love it. Scott, thank you for joining us today on CLIC Connect. You've got an open invitation to come back anytime you want. Also, if you'd like to contribute an article to our blog, we'd love to publish you on the blog and get that out on LinkedIn for you. For those few people that don't know you, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm on LinkedIn. Otherwise, email address, scott.lockwood@choicehotels.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Scott. Take care.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Craig.
What a great show. Give Scott a call. I mean, he's an industry pro. He's a leader. He's got some great assets he's got opened and built. So give him a call. Thank you for joining us today. And as I'm fond of saying, be kind, share your knowledge, go be amazing.